Fran. How are you? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. It's quiet here, so I thought we would take some time to chat, right? Right. So much has happened. Who didn't see that coming, right, Fran? Who didn't see that coming? So I'm already signed in. Let me get to the channel. Thank you, Fran. That is from out in the garden, out on the patio with the zinnias. That's where I took it. So we're finally starting to see some butterflies. So it was a perfect opportunity because I was out there deadheading yesterday morning or afternoon, morning and afternoon. And hi, Jody. Hi. Um, there was a butterfly out there. So it landed on the zinnias and I just took a picture. Hi, Anna Marie. How are you? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, Jody. Happy Sunday. So, oh my gosh, can I tell you, we had the best burgers tonight for dinner. We certainly did. They weren't Juicy Lucy's, they were just plain cheeseburgers, but man, oh man, they were super yummy. They were super yummy. And what I did was I did the bottom half of the bun. I did the burger. Well, I did the bottom half of the bun. I did ketchup. I did the burger. I did cheese. And then I did a lettuce bun top, right? So I was getting the bottom half of the bun. I gave up the top half of the bun and I did lettuce for the top half of the bun. And that worked out much better than having lettuce on both sides because I am not good with a lettuce bun, friends. I am not. That is so messy and slippery. It's slippery. So anyway, so I just thought we would spend a little time. It's quiet here at Lilleybugglane, so I thought we would spend a little time this evening just catching up and getting ready for the week. Oh, Fran, it was so delicious. I put a little bit of their Angus burgers and I put a little bit of adobo. I put some garlic powder and then I do coarse ground pepper and just do it on both sides. Delicious. Hi, Jen. Hi. I love the pictures from the boat race. That was fabulous. That was fabulous. That would be a lot of fun to watch. As long as it was sunny and not too windy. So anyway, so the big news, right? Oh yes, Fran, we use that here. We do. The big news is President Biden has pulled out of the presidential race. Now he's still president, right? He's still president. He didn't resign from being president, although I have to wonder now if the pressure is not going to be on him to do that, right? Not going to be on him to do that because, you know, you pull out of the presidential race, right? Which indicates that you're not up for it for whatever reason, right? Which in my mind would mean you're not up for your current job. That's what I would venture to think, right? That's what I would venture to think. So it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens in the next week and how they spin it, right? To make it sound like it was the patriotic thing to do. And the patriotic thing to do would be to resign right now because he obviously has something going on, doesn't he? He does. It's very, very sad. I feel bad for him as a human being. I feel bad for him because, like we've talked about before, we're watching elder abuse in real time. You know what I mean? In real time. There's no hiding. And I don't know why it took the debate for people to realize there was something wrong with him. But there's something wrong with him. So, and we'll see what happens, right? Yeah, he does. He does, Fran. I agree. I mean, give the guy a break. I understand that it was his lifelong dream to become president, and he had other opportunities to become president because he ran in the past. But he was a liar, liar, pants on fire, and he lied he lied and was found out. So, that put the kibosh on that particular run in that particular year. You know what I'm saying? So back then, right? Back then, if you lied or you did that banshee scream like that one guy did, what was his name? Was that John Howard who did that roar during a rally? And the next day he had to pull out of the race because people thought he was a banshee. Do you remember that? Was his name John Howard? Who did that crazy banshee yell during the he went, yeah, like that, and it scared everybody. So anyway, let me tell you my theory about this, okay? Let me tell you my theory. So I have this Howard Dean. Thank you, Anna Marie. Do you remember that when he did that? And people were like, whoa, hold on a minute there, Howard Dean. You are a little bit too much of a banshee for us. I remember that. It's probably on YouTube. But anyway, there's this theory. I pay, I say, right? I pay, I say. And we're in a presidential campaign right now. And we have July, August, September, October, November. We have 4 months left till we vote, right? And I think what happened is the person that holds, oh, was he, Anna Marie? Oh, okay. Well, that explains it then, doesn't it? That explains it. He was a banshee before it was cool to be a banshee, right? I think what happened is the people that hold the purse strings, meaning his campaign war chest, right? I think they told him, we're not giving you any money. You have no money. Although he's got plenty of money because he stole it all. Him and his son, right? They stole it. They launder it through Ukraine, bring it back to the United States. They launder it through BLM, right? Right. After Patrice Cullors got her cut of it and bought 4 mansions. So anyway, I think what has been happening the last month is there have been negotiations between Jill Biden and, I'm going to guess, Nancy Pelosi. I'm going to guess the DNC. And they were enticing her because it's quite obvious he's not running things. And so it's got to be her, or it's got to be Obama in the basement in sweatpants, with a microphone, with somebody with one in his ear, because he told us that's what was going to happen. I think there's been negotiations back and forth since the debate, right? I think there's been negotiations. I think there's been like, you're going to pardon Hunter. You're going to pardon, you're going to keep all of us from going to jail for the horrific things that we've done to this country. This is how much money we want in return, so he won't run again. Do you know what I mean? I think it was like a negotiation. I really, really do. I really do. Oh, I would imagine not. So I think that's what it is. I don't think it's a good luck for us worldwide as a country. I think it makes us look very chaotic right now. It, in my opinion, leaves us wide open. It leaves us very vulnerable because we have a president who is mentally incapacitated. Yes, he is. And, has just announced that he's not going to run for president again. And the last president that did that was Lyndon B. Johnson. But I know, Jen, don't we? I know. I mean, I bet you there's countries that are getting together right now on the phone and just laughing their asses off. Like, what the hell is going on over there? Right? we better think twice before we turn to them if anything goes wrong, because it's a shit show here. It's a shit show here, right? Right now it is. Right now it is. So anyway, so I think that's what's been going on. Negotiations, right? Negotiations. Yeah, right? I know, Jen. I feel the same way. I feel the same way. It leaves us, it just leaves us open to some things, because you don't know who's in charge. Who's in charge? Where does the buck stop? Right? Where does it stop? So obviously, so that's what's happening. But Lyndon B. Johnson was the last sitting president that he actually refused the nomination for president at the Democratic National Convention when they nominated him, because he became president after JFK was shot, and then then it was time for election. He was going to be the party candidate, but he at the DNC, he gave the speech and he said, I'm not going to do it. Now I'm going to tell you why I think Lyndon B. Johnson didn't do it, because his conscience was eating him from the inside out over JFK. That's why I think, because after JFK was shot and Lyndon B. Johnson became president and put the curse on the Black community, he certainly did. I think his conscience, because of whatever part he may have played in the assassination of JFK, started to eat him alive. He had a conscience, and he became this raging alcoholic, like worse than he already was. He became a raging alcoholic after JFK was assassinated, and he became very paranoid. He became very suspicious of people. And I think it was just his conscience eating him from the inside out. Lyndon B. Johnson. I certainly do. And I don't think he could stand it. I don't think he could stand it. He had to get out. So that's when he declined the nomination for president back then, which I believe was in the 60s. So that's the last president that was, and Biden was the unofficial candidate for president for the Democratic Party, just like Trump up until this past week, right, was the unofficial candidate, because Trump, the Republican Party, just officially nominated Trump for the presidential candidate for the Republican Party. So Joe Biden hasn't officially been nominated yet, right? Of course, there's nobody else running against him, which is so odd to me. Do you remember when we were young and there would be all these candidates and stuff? That was very odd, wasn't it? And now there's just like one here and one here. I didn't think that was the way it worked. But anyway, so Kamala's strapping on her heavy duty knee pads. She certainly is, because she's going to have to keep herself pretty damn busy if she thinks she's going to win. I'm serious. Because that's how she got to where she is now. Just ask Willie Brown back in California. Right? Right. Richard Simmons passed away. I know, right, Jen? Yeah, I'm telling you the truth. Richard Simmons passed away. Sweating to the oldies. Who doesn't remember Sweating to the Oldies with Richard Simmons? Remember that? Oh, that man. He had a lot of baggage. He was carrying. He was an emotional hoarder. He was. You could tell. I just thought he was always just so nice to everybody. And I remember when he used to be on QVC and he would take calls on QVC. I remember that. And he was always just so happy. But you could tell, like Robin Williams. If you looked at Robin Williams and if you looked at Richard Simmons, you could tell they were just tortured individuals. Just looking at them, because you can tell that about somebody. You can tell if someone is genuinely happy, or you can tell if they're, just projecting that happiness and just in total turmoil. And I think Robin Williams and Richard Simmons, right? Now listen. That, yep, Bob Newhart, Shelley Duvall, Shannon Doherty, Lou Dobbs. I mean, a lot of people. I believe 3 of them passed away on J13. J13. A lot of, though, 3 of them passed on J13, or like the day before and the day of, you know what I mean? But there was 3 of them, boom, 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 like that. And you know, it always comes in threes. So the Shannon Doherty, Richard Simmons, and Shelley Duvall were the 3 celebrities, because you know the celebrities always happen in threes. So, but can I tell you, there was a conspiracy around Richard Simmons. There was. Okay. So, you know, he dropped out of sight. Richard Simmons did. All of a sudden, just dropped out of sight. And like nobody was seeing him. He wasn't going out. He wasn't, you know, he wasn't participating in society. Dr. Ruth also, you're right. She was 95 years old. Did you know that? That little woman was 95 years old. Dr. Ruth. She was a hoot, wasn't she? She was hilarious. I remember when she was on Oprah, when she went on Oprah and she went on Phil Donahue. Do you remember that back in the day? And she sat on the chair and they had the stool because she was so short, you know. Can I tell you, as a shorty, you don't want your legs dangling in a chair. That's why I don't like to sit in recliners. I will not sit in a recliner because I'm such a shorty that my legs don't even come over to the floor. And I will not sit in a recliner. She was, wasn't she? Was she German, or was she had to have been from like an Eastern Bloc country with that accent that she had. Was she German? Was she Slovakian? Was she Yugoslavian? She was something, but she was fabulous, wasn't she? She was. Let me tell you something. She gave people the vapors the way she talked sometimes. I remember when she was on Phil Donahue and he was beat red because she was talking about the stuff that she talked about, right? And he was just beat red the entire time, and she was just having fun, just talking and stuff. But the conspiracy with Richard Simmons, so he disappeared out of sight, right? And like he never went out, he never was seen in public, German. Never seen in public and everything. And this was like for quite a few years, right? Well, then I guess some of his super fans, started this podcast. Excuse me. Where is Richard Simmons, or something like that? And it was like a podcast. And they went to his house and were able to talk to him over the wall, right? Because he had a wall. And they were able to talk to him. And he sounded very like scared and stuff like that. But the conspiracy is, allegedly conspiracy, that he was being controlled by his housekeeper. She was controlling him. She was controlling his money. She was controlling everything. And she wouldn't let him out of the house. That's the conspiracy. He said, he gave a couple of like telephone interviews and stuff. And he said that he just wasn't feeling well. And he just didn't want to be seen. Now, there's also rumors that he gained a lot of weight back. There's also rumors that he needed knee surgery and he couldn't get around well, and he didn't want people to see him like that. You know what I mean? But that's really sad. That's really sad. And I know there's a I don't know if it's a docu-series or a not a biography, but there's something that's going to be on Netflix or something that's about Richard Simmons. And I know that he did not support it. He did not support the this thing that's going to be on TV. He spoke out against it. So that's sad that we lost Richard Simmons, because I know that he brought a lot of people a lot of happiness and a lot of hope, at the height of his popularity. And then Shelley Duvall, there is a YouTube channel. I don't remember the name of it. She became a recluse. Shelley Duvall did. And there's a YouTube channel where the guy that has the YouTube channel spent a day with Shelley Duvall, and she wouldn't get out of her car. He stood by her car and she wouldn't get out of her car. And then she would leave and come back. And, I think she was a little bit not right in the head. But one of the things about Shelley Duvall, because remember, was she in Psycho? Was she in Psycho? Because during this video that this guy shot with her, she talks about that role. And I've seen the A&E biographies. They did one on her, and she said that was a horrific role that she played, and that it really got down deep inside of her, and she could never shake The Shining. It freaked her out, Jen. She said it freaked her out. When Heath Ledger played the Joker, and that freaked him out. And then the guy who played Freddy Krueger, he had to stop playing Freddy Krueger because he said it was starting to freak him out to be playing Freddy Krueger, that man. So she said it was a horrible movie to be in, and it just scared her and messed her up and everything like that. And so she played Olive Oil too, which I never saw the Popeye movie. I never saw that. I wouldn't be able to watch it anyway, because I think, wasn't Robin Williams Popeye? Yeah. And Mrs. Doubtfire was one of my favorite movies, and I have not watched Mrs. Doubtfire since Robin Williams passed away. I just can't watch it. So, but anyway, so we lost some really good people. And Shannon Doherty, she was on 90210, and then she was on, was it Charmed? I never watched 90210. That was after my time. I was older by that time. And then I think Charmed, I never watched that either. So yeah, but she died also, passed away. And then Lou Dobbs, he was older. He passed away. So we lost some Charmed. I never watched it, Jody. I never watched it. Now, what was Rose McGowan? Shannon Doherty? Yeah, she was, wasn't she? She was on Little House on the Prairie. Dang, why didn't I remember that? Because I could have interjected Little House on the Prairie here, right? Okay, I got to tell you something that happened last night here at Lilleybugglane, okay? So a few days ago, we had 2 hornets in our bedroom upstairs, okay? Now keep in mind that we are in the newest part of the house here. We are right now. You, me, and all of you are in the newest part of the house. So we have the original part of the house, which was built in the 1930s. And then we have the original, and then we have the newer part of the house back here, right? So all of our windows in the original part of the house are original windows. And half of the upstairs are original windows, right? So we had 2 hornets in our bedroom the other day, okay? And it's not unusual. I'm sure a lot of you get like a wasp in the house, and you think to yourself, how the hell did that get in there? How the hell did that get in our house? Right? Well, they get in little cracks in the windows, and they'll get in one way or the other. So we didn't think too much of it, right? Now, these weren't your typical hornets. They weren't your typical hornets. They were black and white striped, right? They weren't black and yellow striped. Okay, bees. You get bees in the house. And And I don't think that's unusual, Fran. You know, you get a fly, you get a stink bug, you get the ninja gnats, you get moths, you know, you get bees sometimes, right? And you think to yourself, how the hell did they get in here? So we had these hornets, and I said something to Chewy about it, and he said, okay, okay. But we weren't real concerned about it. So yesterday, we were outside, and Chewy was in the far back part of the yard, right? By the back fence, the very back part of the yard. And he's standing there and he's looking up at the house. And I'm deadheading, right? And I just kind of look at him and I'm thinking, what is he doing? So then he says, hey, Lala, come here. I figured out where the hornets came from. And I'm like, oh no. So I go walk into the back part of the yard and I look up towards the house here, right? Right above where we're sitting right now is our bedroom. And he points to the gutter above our big picture window in our bedroom. And he points to the gutter. And just above the gutter, you can see there's something there in the gutter. And he says, watch it. So I watch it, and you see the hornets flying around it. So what does Chewy do? He gets out the big Mamma Jamma ladder. He does, because he was going to climb the ladder to get to what that was, right? Well, he puts the ladder up against the gutter, right? So, chink, up against the gutter. That thing, the hornets just came flying out of there. So that was not going to happen, him going up that ladder. So he had to crawl through to the lower roof, get himself up onto the higher roof, and we had a hornet's nest in the gutter, the rain gutter, that was probably the size of, I can't even think of how big it was. And I'm sending pictures to people. I'm like, oh my gosh, look what's happening right now here. Chewy was up on the roof. He had 3 cans of Hornet spray. He's double barreling the Hornet spray, spraying this thing. The Hornets are flying all over the place. He's like standing back. Thankfully, it had a 6-foot spray on it. Anyway, so he saturates it. We let it sit for a while. He comes back down. No way, Anna Marie. Where was yours? Oh, you knocked it down. So was it in a tree? Was it black and white hornets? Because they're called bald-faced hornets. Because Chewy looked them up. They're called bald-faced hornets. Now listen to this. Their lifespan from birth to death is 22 days with these hornets. 22 days. And oh my gosh, you should have seen the nest look like an alien up there in the gutter. And then he sprays it, saturates it, we let it dry. Then he takes the power nozzle on the garden hose, he gets up the ladder, sprays it, and loosens it. Really? Right outside your front door, Anna Marie? Did it show up just like that, or did you know it was there? If it was the size of a basketball. Jody, you need to start being a country mouse, Jody. You need to start being a country mouse. Right? You're not playing Green Acres, sister. You're not. Wouldn't that be funny? You're like doing Green Acres now, right? I know. You have to be a country mouse now. Oh. Huh. Do they build them that quick, Anna Marie? I don't know if they build them that quick or not. I don't know. So anyway, I know. Green Knickers is the place for me. Jody, I think I'm more of a country mouse than you are, and I'm no country mouse. Friends, we have to talk Jody into chickens. We have to talk Jody into a little baby goat. I think that would be so cute, a little baby goat. A little goat. I think it would be cute. So anyway, so he knocks it down with the sprayer, right? Or knocks it loose, right? And it goes sliding down the gutter. So then he gets it, brings it and puts it on the driveway upside down. You should have seen the eggs. You should have seen the eggs. Oh, a cow? Oh, name her Fern. Name her Fern, Jody. If you get a cow, name her Fern. Name her Fern. I think Fern's a pretty name for a cow. So anyway, the eggs were, it was gross. It was just gross. It was gross, 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 gross. But we don't know how long it had been there, okay? So you figure the lifespan is 22 days, right? But you've got them, yes, eggs. You've got some that are dying off and you've got some being born. So I don't know if they, I don't know if like the new ones go build a new nest. I don't know, but oh my gosh, it was craziness. It was craziness here. And then of course, since Chewy had the ladder out, right? He was thinking, he did the windows upstairs. He cleaned the windows with windshield wiper fluid upstairs because we had the big Mama Jamma ladder out. So he said, well, while I have the ladder out, I might as well clean the windows. So he cleaned the windows. So that was crazy though, right? That was crazy. Now listen, there's some really good bee channels on YouTube, and they're like people that go and do like the hives, and people that find bees in their house or in their gutters or in their walls, or it's crazy. It's fabulous to watch them because it's like a well-oiled machine to catch these bees and stuff. But these were hornets, black and white striped hornets. And Chewy looked them up and it said bald-faced hornet is what it is. So there you go. There you go, friends. That was the excitement. That was the excitement here last night or last evening. So, and we did have a fire. We had a beautiful, lovely fire. We certainly did. We did it on the driveway because there are so many pots of flowers and everything on the patio that we would have had to do a lot of moving around. Oh, are you, Anna Marie? Well, I'm glad that your husband took care of yours, right? Do you carry an EpiPen with you? As long as you have the EpiPen, there's nothing to really worry about. And let me tell you something. Friends. Don't be afraid. If a bee flies near you, or a hornet flies near you, or a wasp flies near you, do not panic. Don't start mouth breathing. Don't start waving your arms. Don't start hyperventilating, because those bees, if they're close to you, are going to pick up on your freak out frequency that you're emanating from your body, right? You just want to stand still, just be calm, keep your mouth closed, right? And they'll fly away. They're just as curious. Yeah, Anna Marie. Yeah, I know. I know. I know. I know it is. But if you have to use it, you have to use it, right? My brother-in-law, my sister's husband, is very allergic to bees. So he's very, very allergic to bees. They've had to call the ambulance I think a couple of times for him because he's gotten stung out in their yard. And I think he has an EpiPen now. I think he does. So, but that was ours. And we had a beautiful fire last night. And oh my gosh, the moon. The moon was gorgeous last night. Fran, I wish could you see the moon last night, Fran? Because it was absolutely gorgeous last night. It certainly was. I hope you were able to see it. But it was just a beautiful moon, beautiful night. Now listen, I think tonight is the meteor shower. I think tonight is the meteor shower. So you might want to take a step outside when it gets dark enough so that you'll be able to see the meteor shower. And then I believe, oh, darn it, Fran, because it was very big and very bright and very full. It was great. But we sat outside. I sat on the bench, and then Chewy had a chair on the driveway, and we just put the fire pit out there on the driveway. We had some fabulous tunes playing on the radio. Oh, we certainly did. We certainly did. So that was nice. So, and then today they just went golfing. Chewy and Louise went golfing, and I did my usual Sunday stuff and just getting ready for this week. Can I tell you, I got to change the cat's boxes this week. I do. I got to change the cat's boxes this week. That's not one of my favorite things to do. It's a process. It's a process. But I do have to change the cat's boxes this week. So that'll be one of my main things that I do. And then we'll be together on Wednesday. I've already started gathering up some things for Wednesday's circle time. So that's what we'll be doing. But yeah, lots of things are going to start happening, friends. Lots of things are going to start happening. We just have to keep calm and carry on and know that, you know, good wins over evil, right? And the more light that is shown onto a situation, the more we see, right? The more light that's shown on, the more we see. There is no access to Butler Fairgrounds at all. It is closed off. So you cannot get onto the Butler Fairgrounds here. You can ride by it on the road, but there is no access into the fairgrounds at all. So that's interesting. Listen, I read a comment in a video that I watched about the assassination attempt and about the sloped roof. And I didn't even think about this. Okay? Remember how I told you that roof that the shooter was on was hardly sloped at all? It was almost virtually a flat roof, right? Somebody in the comment section of a video that I watched said that they were handicapped and had a, what do you call that? What do you call this thing? Handicap ramp going up to their front door that was more of a pitch than that roof on that building. So listen, and I read that comment and I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. Because I've seen some handicap ramps that I'm like, holy cow, you know, that is a challenge. That is a challenge. But yeah, the person said that their handicap ramp was more of a pitch than the roof that was there. So you know it wasn't much of a pitch at all. I also heard too that the gentleman, so the founder of American Research Glass, right, or American Glass Research, AGR, his name was Frank Prescott. Okay, I believe it was Frank Prescott. He developed bulletproof glass. and Corningware. You know, the stuff that, not Corningware, I'm sorry, Corel. You know, the dishes, remember the dishes from back in the day? That was in the 70s, right? I remember the commercial for Corel dishes. Remember, because they would drop them and they wouldn't break? He was the developer of the Corel dishes. Yeah. And the building that the shooter was on, guess who bought that building? BlackRock. BlackRock. And a couple of other people went in with BlackRock and bought that building. Yep. There's a lot of information coming out about, there's people coming out that were eyewitnesses. They're starting to appear on videos and things like that. So I was not aware that not only is the director of the Secret Service a woman, right, Kimberly Cheadle, but also the assistant director is a woman. Yep. So there you go. There you go. And it's my understanding, Stephen Gardner was reading something, and he said when he was reading the news release that the snipers that were up above Trump, that was a last minute thing, that there weren't going to be any counter snipers there, that was a last minute thing, and the snipers were there. So I know, right? Now listen, who just said that? Fran. Cheadle has announced that she is going to resign. I think it's right before she goes in. Now listen, I'm thinking about this, right? Conspiracy theory, possibility, allegedly. What if she resigns and then refuses to go in to answer the questions? Because would she not then be a private citizen after she resigns her position as the director? I just thought about that, right? Let me tell you something. I remember back in the day when you would get a subpoena from Congress, or you would, get like a, hey, we want to talk to you, get in here kind of a thing. And people were like, jumping. Nobody refused Congress when they wanted to speak to you, right? Nobody did. Now Congress says, hey, we'd like to speak to you. Here's a summons to come in and speak to us. And people are like, yeah, I'm not doing that. You can F right off. I'm not coming in. I'm not talking to you. When did that happen? I thought it was illegal to reject a subpoena from Congress. I always thought it was, but I don't know if it was or not. So anyway, she might. I don't know. I'm thinking she might. I mean, that would be a way to get out of it, wouldn't it, Fran? Wouldn't that be a way to get out of it? To not have to talk to them? Is if she resigns before she goes in there and then says, I'm not the director anymore, right? I mean, that would be some craziness though, but still. Yeah, so she's going to go talk to him, I think. She's going to go talk to him. And then, and this has been reported locally too. 2 state police officers that were there at the Butler Fairgrounds that helped injured people have been put on administrative leave. Right. You think it is it illegal? I always thought it was illegal, like that you could be held in contempt, like in contempt of Congress, if you didn't show up, if you were subpoenaed, right? I thought that. And I thought it was funny too, kind of off topic, but kind of not, when Fannie Willis, the Fannie Willis trial and everything, and she wasn't supposed to, he's trying to be quiet, but the quieter he tries to be, the louder he is.
I'm not trying to be quiet.
Really?
No.
Okay.
Getting my stuff, but trying not to be.
Getting your stuff?
Yeah.
What, are you going to die of thirst?
Yeah, I am.
You are?
Yeah.
Swallow your spit, honey.
Not too bad.
He's trying real hard to be quiet, and it's like the more quiet he tries to be, the louder he is. Right, Anna Marie? I thought that. I know, Fran. I know. I thought that too, Anna Marie. But then I'm like, why is nobody getting in trouble? Like, they're like, no, I'm not coming. I'm not coming to talk to you. You can't make me talk to you. You can't, I'm not coming. And like people were like giving the finger, and they were like getting on TV. And Fran, he's got enough people on his team now. Come on. No, he just wanted to come down and get a cold drink. But it was funny because he's like creeping around here. You saw me looking at him, giving him the evil eye, right? Because he's trying to be real quiet, but he's not being quiet. You know how that is, right? Like, in a movie when there's stairs and the stairs creak and the person goes up the stairs real slow because they think the slower they go, the creak won't happen, right? The C-R-E-A-K. Is that right? Creek? Not like a creek running water, but like a creek. That sounded like a baby pterodactyl from Jurassic Park, didn't it? Oh, Fran. Well, I must say, he showed very little interest when we had the two in the bedroom, because he said, did you kill him? And I said, yeah, I killed him with the fly swatter. He said, okay. But I am glad that he got up on that roof because I wouldn't have done it. I would have tried to think of a way to get him, but I wouldn't have done it. I probably could have gotten on the lower roof because we go through a window upstairs and and then you get on the lower roof and then you got to get up onto the higher pitch. Yeah, it's precarious. It is. So anyway, so I'm kind of like thinking to myself, what's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen this coming week? Now, there's this virtual roll call thing, which I don't understand because I'm not that politically savvy to understand it. I know that the DNC, their convention is next month, I believe, right? And then if Kamala Harris is going to be the presidential candidate, which, I mean, is that the best you've got? Is that the best you've got? No girls allowed. I would be okay with a woman vice president. I am not okay with a woman president. I want our country to convey strength and convey just strength, right? Solid, rock solid strength, right? And Kamala Harris, she ain't gonna convey that. She ain't. She's not. So she has to name her VP candidate, right? I don't want to see a woman, Anna Marie. I don't. Not sorry. No girls allowed. I'll take a woman vice president. Do you know what I mean? I'm okay with that. But I am not. Oh, come here. Say hi, friends. Right, Anna Marie. Right. Oh, he just sighed. I felt his belly. He just sighed. Say hi to your friends, Jolly Boy. Say hi to all your friends. Look at how big he is. Can you believe that? We were just talking. We were talking about you, weren't we? Not so long ago, right? Remember the night I introduced him to all of you? I held him in the palm of my hand, right? And that wasn't that long ago. It wasn't. And now look at our Jolly Boy. Look at him. See how the stripes on his legs are getting a little bit darker? And if you look, I don't know if I can get him to look into the camera. His eyes are golden. They've stayed golden for a whole day today. So, yeah, they do. Let me see. Can you see him? Look at his eyes. See, they're kind of golden. They've stayed that way all day today. They haven't switched back and forth. So there's our Jolly Boy. Let's look at his beans. He's got the cutest little beans. Look at them beans. They're so soft too. He's got soft little beans. He's starting to jump up on the kitchen chairs. And he jumps up on the, well, you guys know he jumps up here and he gets on the back of here and he jumps onto the cat thing. He heard you calling. He showed up all of a sudden, Fran. He was right here. And he got up on his hind legs and touched the side of my leg. So he must have heard you. But it's going to be, I'll tell you something, friends. It is going to be a roller coaster. It is going to be a roller coaster the next 4 months. It certainly is. And we just have to stay focused and keep the faith and, know that everything's going to work out. Because let me tell you something, it's going to be a shit show. It's going to be a shit show. They have the left, right? The left has backed themselves into a corner with all this DEI diversity bullshit, right? So they're very limited as to who they can pick, right, for Kamala's vice president. Let me tell you something. You want to know who I thought about? Who did I think about when Joe Biden, so he pulls out of the race, instantly Kamala Harris is now the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. That's the best they have. That's the best they have. Right? Right. Russia's a big country and Ukraine's a little country. And it's not right that the big country invades the little country. She probably couldn't even point Ukraine out on a damn map. Seriously. Zelensky had to get on a stool for her. Certainly he did. You know that. Anyway, I thought of Stacey Abrams. Because do you remember the last election when Biden and her were on a Zoom call together and she's all smiles because she thought he was going to ask her to be the VP? Do you remember that? And I mean, you could see it in her face when he thanked her for being such a good soldier. But you weren't good enough, soldier. You weren't good enough. You weren't. And for people that say that Joe Biden isn't racist, go watch that with Stacey Abrams. and tell me he's not racist. He is. He is. He is. I mean, he didn't want his children to go to a school that was a racial jungle. That's Joe Biden. That's Joe Biden. AOC. Oh my gosh. Fran. She didn't even know the 3 branches of government. She didn't even know. If I ever see her, which I never will, but if I ever do, I'm going to give her the what, and I'm going to give her the Schoolhouse Rock. I'm going to give her the Schoolhouse Rock song about the different branches of government, right? 'Cause she didn't even know them. She didn't even know them. And then for her to try and culturally appropriate when she was calling Marjorie Taylor Greene baby girl, baby girl, baby girl. Oh my God. She's so gross. She's gross. And like she said, she didn't know what a garbage disposal was. You know what a garbage disposal is, honey. You know. You know. You know. You know. Because that's one of the names that, that's one of the names. Garbage disposal. But anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun, friends. It certainly is. Pop yourself up a big old bowl of popcorn, right? Right. Because it's going to be fun. Just imagine. Oh, and get this. Get this. I watched Megyn Kelly because, a lot of people went live as soon as Biden announced he wasn't running, right? So I was doing things because somebody texted me and said, Biden just... Yeah. Was she a barista or was she a bartender? Yeah. Right, Fran? Hopefully something good will happen. Right? I'm going to talk to you all about something I'm obsessed with. I'm obsessed with something, and I'm going to talk about it with you on Wednesday. I am. I've just become obsessed. She was a bartender. Yeah. Yeah. Right? Can you imagine? Can you imagine? But it'll be interesting. Let me tell you this too. Joe Biden now has no guardrails as to what he can do before he leaves office because he doesn't have to worry about getting reelected, right? So he can do anything he wants to. So hold on to your hats, friends, because he could possibly, although he's not, that poor man, but the people around him know that the gig is up. So no telling what's going to come down the pipeline between now and November. And then we have until January, right? Then we have until January. Now, this could happen too, right? Because there's a lot of people that say he's not going to last until January. Like, not last until January. He's that bad, okay? So here's what could happen. November comes, right? Trump is reelected to become the 47th president, but Biden is still president until January, the inauguration. Because Trump's only the president-elect, right? So he doesn't really have any real power. If they took Biden out with the 25th Amendment after the election, and Kamala Harris was president for that short period of time, just to get her into the history books as the first biracial woman president. She's Indian and she's Jamaican. Her dad's mad at her. Kamala Harris. Her dad's mad at her. He is. Because he considers himself an islander, right? He doesn't consider himself a black person. He says he's an islander. Right? Could that work, Anna Marie? I'm thinking that. Right? But it wouldn't matter, Fran. It wouldn't matter how long. It wouldn't matter how long. Her dad says she's not Anna Marie. He says islander. And we know people from the islands, like the Caribbean and down there. And, thank you, Patricia. Thank you. We're not going to be on too much longer, friend. We're not. I'm so glad you're here. And they call themselves islanders. They do not call themselves African American. They don't call themselves black. They call themselves islanders. And I've seen on forums and stuff, islander is one of the ethnicities that you can check off on a box, right? Have you seen those too? I've seen that before. So, but a lot of things can happen between now and January, right? A lot of things can happen between now and November, right? Right. Can I tell you, I watched President Trump's RNC acceptance speech. It was wonderful. He sounded a little raspy. His voice did. He'd been through a lot. Right? He looked good. And I thought it was very, very nice. Very, very good speech. Now, the one thing that I was most impressed with, and I actually texted a friend of mine, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's laying down the law. Yeah, but Fran, you can do a lot of damage in 2 months, right? You can do a lot of damage in 2 months. I wouldn't want her in that position for a minute, right? Not even for a minute, because you can, unbridled, you can do a whole lot of damage. But I was watching watching President Trump's speech at the RNC, and I texted my friend and I said, oh my gosh, I said, he's laying down the law. Because you know what he said? And this is something that people aren't really hooking on to. He had a message for Hamas. And he said, you better release the hostages before I'm elected president. Because if you don't, you're going to be sorry. Now, there are American hostages being held by Hamas, a worldwide terrorist organization in Palestine. Okay? There are Americans in Palestine being held by Hamas. Okay? So I thought that was like, that's what I want people to know about the United States, right? F-A-F-O, right? F-A-F-O with the USA. But I thought that was fabulous. And it was just like it was in a sentence. He said it in a sentence, and I don't think people really caught on to it. But I was immediately texting my friend, and I was like, oh my gosh, he just laid down the law. He just laid down the law. You let those people go, or you are going to reap the consequences, right? You are going to reap the consequences. And that's what I want. That's the kind of strength. Yeah. That's the kind of strength I want our country, right, to convey to the rest of the world. Not this this circus show that we're having right now. Now, here's another thing too, right? Crazy things can happen. Good things can happen in the next few months, and bad things could happen in the next few months. So we just have to, keep vigilant and believe and keep the faith, because it's like what do they call those? A mosh pit? It's like a mosh pit now. Is that what it is? A mosh pit or a rave? What's the one where everybody gets in the center and they just kind of all go crazy? Is that a mosh pit or is that a rave? Maybe it's both. I don't know. But anyway, so I just thought we would spend some time together this evening just talking about a few things that, have happened in the last few days, the last week or so. It's been crazy. Mosh pit. Are we old, Jody? Are we like out of the loop? Because I'm not sure. I'll ask Louise what it is. I think it is mosh pit. Isn't mosh pit? Isn't that what the punks at their concerts, like punk rock? You know what I'm talking about? And they get in the mosh pit. Is that what it is? Yeah. Let me tell you something right now. I do not watch The View. I will not watch The View. But I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see the clips that are going to be posted on YouTube for The View. Because let me tell you something, those cackling old bitty hens are going to lose their shit. They're going to lose their shit, and I can't wait to see it, right? I can't wait to see it. It's going to be fabulous. It is. So if you all are at all interested, there is a wonderful channel. It's called Lionel Nation, okay? And this is a gentleman who is very, very straightforward. He is very blunt. He does a lot of kind of like satirical talking and philosophical talking. And he's been covering a lot of the stuff that's been going on since the assassination. And he was on live today when the announcement was made by Biden. Well, I shouldn't say announcement, because let me tell you something, friends. I'm going to give you a little bit of advice, okay? I'm going to give you a little bit of advice, okay? I think the way Joe Biden announced the end of his presidential campaign and presidential run was so disrespectful to the voters, Democratic voters. I think it was disrespectful. I think he should have done it at a press conference, even if there were going to be no questions taken or anything, or a pre-recorded something that was put out where you saw his face. Do you know what I'm saying? Where you saw his face. Not tonight, Anna Marie. It's later this week. It's later this week. Because remember, he has COVID. Remember? Yeah. I thought it was horribly disrespectful. That's like telling a family member of a passing. You know what I'm saying? Texting them, right? You don't do that. Or letting your family know something horrific has happened on Facebook. That's how you tell them. Right, Anna Marie? Right. Well, you know what's so funny? If you believe in coincidences, right? If you go back in time and look at different clips, he was with Obama, I believe, and he said he would fake an illness and step down as president. I think it was when he was early in his presidency or in the campaign before, right? Because he said, I'll just fake an illness. Well, he just recently said it again. Prior to J13. right? Prior to. Oh, and you want to know something that's very interesting too? A lot of the J6ers got released after Saturday. A lot of the J6ers got released. How wonderful is that, right? Now I hope they sue the shit out of the government. I certainly do. I hope they sue the shit out of them. I would say $1 million for every day you were being held unconstitutionally in the DC jail, right? $1 million a day. That would be my price. That would be my price. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. It's going to be very, very interesting. I think there's a very short list for Kamala Harris. Oh my God. Right? I can't. I have a visual. I have a visual of when I say Kamala Harris. I just have this visual, because she was busy working her way to the top. She certainly was. She was. So, does anybody have any big plans for this week that they'd like to share before we say goodnight? Any big fancy plans or luncheons or anything like that? Anniversaries, birthdays? We're just going to have a regular week here. My parents will be coming up for a visit. They want to see Jolly Boy. I know, Anna Marie, not a good choice, right? Well, I mean, I wouldn't, right? I wouldn't choose him. It's not who we voted for, right? That was a shit show too. So we'll be together on when you're off tomorrow. I know, Jody, right? Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Sit out on that. Aw, really? Not today, Anna Marie, or next Sunday? That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Congratulations. Right? I know. Chewy and I have been married a few years more than that, but it's like we had our anniversary this year and we just kind of looked at each other and we were like, holy cow, right? We were like, yeah, right. Well, that'll be nice. That'll be nice, Anna Marie. That'll be nice. Congratulations. It's not unusual for our generation, though, is it? I don't think the younger generations will be able to enjoy something that special, right? Unfortunately. But for our generation, I think it's not an uncommon thing, right? It's not an uncommon thing. Oh, what about that? What about that World War II veteran at the RNC when he said that he would re-enlist? He would re-enlist for Trump. I know, Anna Marie. I thought he was such a sweet little man, wasn't he? He was. You know what? I think he was getting a little bit emotional. I do, because I think he lost his place a couple times. But I think it was because he was emotional. That's what I think. But he did such a nice job, didn't he? I loved him too. He was so sweet. He was. And I think he conveyed to President Trump's very nicely, his loyalty. So that was sweet, wasn't it? It was. It was sweet. So, okay, friends, I'm going to let you go. I know that you have to get ready. Some of us have to get ready for the week to come, but I just wanted to spend a little time together. It was quiet here after dinner. So I thought, you know what? Let's get on and have a little bit of a chit chat, shall we? A little bit of a chit chat. So sometimes you just got to let it all out, don't you, friends? Well, not all of it. You don't want to let all of it out. You certainly don't, because can I give you a little bit of advice? Right? Nobody cares. They They don't. They don't. It's okay, right? It's okay. But sometimes, you know, you just think to yourself, better you than me, friend. Better you than me. I know. I know. This is not gonna take a good turn if we continue on, is it? It is not. Listen, we'll see each other on Wednesdays. We'll see each other on Wednesday, right? 8 o'clock for circle time. I'm already gathering up some things here. I have a obsession that I want to share with you. I've been obsessed with it for a while, right? So I always try things on myself first, and then I let you all know about it so that you can possibly try it, or maybe you're already obsessed with it too, but we'll find out what that is. See, I got to leave a hook, right? You got to leave a hook so that you'll come on Wednesday to find out what this obsession is, right? I know. It's a form of manipulation. It is. Oh, friends. I think of you often. You are never far in my thoughts. Keep those memes and reels coming on Instagram. They are funny. I love them. Appropriate, inappropriate, I don't care. I think they're fabulous. Good night, Fran. Good night, Anna Marie. Good night, Jen. Good night, Jody. Good night, Patricia. I'm so glad that you all were here and we got to chat. And for you all right there, because I see you, I'm glad that you were here, and I hope that you enjoyed your time visiting Lilleybugglane. Are we ready? I think we're ready. I hope you're happy. You're going to be a lot happier in the future. You certainly are. I hope you're healthy. Take your zinc every day. It is up to us. I will tell him, Fran. I certainly will. And I hope you are safe. I certainly do. I will see you all Wednesday, friends, for circle time. Until then, have a great evening. Get out and look at the moon if you can, or see if you can see the meteor shower, because I'm sure it's going to be fabulous. Talk to you later. Good night.